It doesn't get easier. It doesn't get better. It doesn't become more of what you want unless you work for it. At the end of the day, the GPS is only going to take us where we tell it to go, but only if we tell it where we're starting from. It will redirect us. It will guide us to where we want to go. And we trust that Google Maps isn't going to lead us astray. So can we put that same trust back in ourselves by developing our own map? By figuring out what is it that we want from this one life that we get? Whether you've lived for a long time or you're just figuring it out, wherever you are is the perfect time to start evaluating what it is that you want next. And today we're going to talk about 3 specific things that you can do to help you get there. The first thing is creating a map. What are you going to feel tomorrow? What are you going to decide tomorrow? How are you going to show up? How are you going to speak to other people? How are you going to treat yourself? What are you going to eat? How are you going to get to that location? Who are you going to interact with? These are all questions that often go unanswered up until the very moment that they happen. We don't decide what we're going to eat in advance. We don't necessarily plan to go to the gym or show up to work a certain way. We just let it happen. And when we let it happen, life does happen to us. We go around and we accept that, oh, okay, well, this reaction is just what I'm going to have to deal with today, instead of being proactive about it. And when we have this roadmap, when we have a destination in mind, we can start to make literal changes every single day to get us a little bit closer. How are you intentionally carving out time for you? How are you choosing what you're going to spend your time on? What are you going to eat? How are you going to behave? We don't have to wait until somebody acts a certain way to us to decide how we're going to react. We have a pretty good idea of how certain people are going to act towards us or what they're going to say to us. So we don't have to wait until they do say it to come up with something to say back. And this entire roadmap can be broken down through the 5 freedoms. The 5 freedoms are mental, physical, emotional, financial, and spiritual. Everything that you do in any given day can be touched upon in any one of these categories or in specifically one. So when you think about your life, it can be broken down into these categories, and it becomes a lot easier to realize how one of these decisions really does affect the other ones. When you spend too much money, you start stressing about it, and you might start overeating or not eating, and then your relationships suffer. You are emotionally disconnected from yourself and what you need to do next. And then spiritually, you feel like you don't have a purpose. So every category, every part of your life does affect the other. So if we can proactively show up and look at the different perspectives and figure out what people are expecting of us and what we expect of ourselves, we can start to decipher who it is that we want to be. Our dreams are not accidents that happen to us. They're something that we intentionally do. We have to look at all of it to decide. And down below, I have the entire freedom framework for you to go in and to figure it out. Because these are questions that I have to ask myself all the time. Who do I want to be and where do I want to go next? Because no one else is jumping in on my behalf and figuring it out. And those who are willing to take advantage of my time are not going to push me into the directions that I want, because they're going to use it to their advantage. So it's up to us to decide. We have to choose where we're going to go and why. The bigger the why, the greater the push for you to keep going in that direction will be. If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, you're just going to keep doing the same thing and getting what you've always been getting. And if you want to move forward in your life, if you want to change something, you're only going to do it if you have a good enough reason to. So what are your reasons? Write them down. Why do you want to have a financial independence? Why do you want to have a healthy body? There's a reason, and it all has to do with living a better and longer life. So we don't have to wait until it magically happens one day, when we've put enough into our retirement, hopefully, and when we've been so nice to all of our friends that they're finally nice back. We don't have to wait for all of these things to happen for us to start feeling this new life and bringing it into existence. What you decide to do in 5 minutes from now, in 10 minutes from now, is something you can decide now. You can decide who you're going to show up as, and the more you practice it, the more you're going to be it. So what are you practicing? And these are part of that roadmap. Who have you been so you know who you want to be next? And what we first realize usually is who we don't want to be. Who do you not want to be? Is there people in your life who act certain ways, who have some things that you like, but other things that you don't? How are you looking at your life and evaluating what is working and what isn't? Because if you're not, you're just going to be going through the motions, and you're going to end up at any age and at some point and say, you know what? I don't like this. Or this hasn't been working, and you're going to blame other people and other things. Instead of getting to that point, you can choose today to be like, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to spend some time on it. And you don't have to spend hours upon hours to do this work, but you can. And it is the most important work that you can do, because you are your greatest return on investment. At the end of the day, no matter who comes into your life or who goes, you are staying in it. You are going to be the ever-present figure in your own life, and it's time for you to get comfortable with that idea. If you are lonely when you're by yourself, you're not in good company, but it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to stay at the surface level understanding of yourself. You have to dive deep into who you are and unravel that. Decide that you're going to show up. Decide who it is that is going to go to the next level with you. Who is worth figuring it out with and who isn't. We have to stop handing our power to every single person and thing and decision and piece of food and transportation. We have to realize that every time we are allowing somebody's behavior to make us mad or to react in a certain way, we are handing them our power. You can choose to react differently, and the choice has always been yours. And once you accept that this choice can become yours again, you stop giving more to people than they deserve. Your partner, your parents, your siblings, your coworkers, your friends, they all have positions in your life for a reason. Whether you want them there or not is up to you. How you're going to react is also up to you. And the more you can focus on the things that you do want and the things you can control, everything else starts to fall into place. When you show up for yourself and you see other people not showing up for you, you start to realize that, this isn't working for me. But it is until you get to that point, it's all gonna just keep going on. For many years, I had people in my life who showed up sometimes, didn't other times, and this wishy-washy, this back and forth, this like, it'd be super exciting when they were there, and then I'd be upset, and then I didn't know why, and then I'd spend all this time thinking about them, and then we wouldn't talk for weeks. It was this constant loop of not going anywhere. I was spinning my wheels in dirt that was going to keep me stuck there no matter how many times I did. So what I had to do was get out of that car and realize, you know what? I can't change the car being in that mud. I can't change the mud. I can't change that person. But there are certain things that can change. Maybe I can't have full control over getting a new job or new friends because, someone else has to choose you as well. But I can choose to update my resume, figure out what my skills are, develop my skills, go out to new places, work out at a workout class, go meet new people, get myself out there, and stop giving so much power to all of these people who aren't there for me and who aren't worth it. So we have to realize that our power lies within us, and we can complain for the rest of our lives, but it's not getting us anywhere. And that was the point that I came to at the beginning of 2024 when I was let go of my job, and I had to realize that all the people I knew were suddenly turning on me as well. The job, the income I had no longer wanted me, and I had poured hours and hours into it, and all I got was losing it. But that's from one perspective. At the end of the day, it freed me to move forward with my life, to move on, to go and explore other options in my life. And it was not an instantaneous decision to switch to that perspective, but it was a decision that I had eventually had to make. And every step I took, I was unwinding all of the times that I had given my power over to someone else and was now giving it back to me. And one of the things I did was I started cooking more food. And I needed those little wins every single day. And that was something that I did today to get a new win. I made mashed potatoes and gravy. Not earth-shattering food, but something that could give me a little win to move me forward. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like you can't move forward, how can you set yourself up? How can you spend time thinking about the life that you do want, working towards it, creating some new skills? Maybe you don't want to become a chef, but how can you nourish yourself a little bit more? And that is one of the big words for me this year, is nourish. How can I give myself more? How can I nourish myself with food, with self-care, with love, with joy, with being happy, with new clothes, with showing up for me? How can I nourish myself and feel that warmth and carry that warmth with me more often than I carry the bitterness and the hurt and being upset? The second thing that we can start doing is deciding how we're going to feel and following through on that. I was on a work call the other day, and someone that I'm fairly close to was very rude to me. And I didn't understand why. And, I could have gotten off that call and been like, man, like, what did I do? Like, why did he act that way towards me? Like, aren't we close? And I was like, you know what? That's not what I'm gonna do. I decided to sit with my thoughts, to do a evaluation right in that moment. And if you know who Laura St. John is, I've talked about her a few times, and I will link one of her videos down below so you can go and check her out. But I did one of her tools. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do this tool. I'm going to do the work. And this is the work that we have to keep doing. And she's amazing. She's a mindset coach, and I've been working with her for a few months now, but this is how you pull back into freedom. This is how you take your freedom back. You show up for yourself. You decide that, all right, this person is going to behave this way. People are not going to be great, but I'm going to show up for me. I'm going to choose me, right? That's what this whole journey is about, is choosing me, showing up for me, deciding that I'm going to be better than what I was. And the version of me 7 months ago, 2 years ago, would have reacted very differently, and I would have complained constantly. And even earlier this week, I have complained about it. But, then I did something about it. I decided, I was like, you know what? All right, well, I'm just going to write down all the questions that I have to ask him. And I'm going to do that next time. And until I have 3 or 4 questions, I'm not going to reach out to him. At the end of the day, the people that you work with are the people that you work with. And you can be friends, and it is a great joy to be friends with people that you work with, but you have to put it all back into perspective. You have to realize what matters and what doesn't, and the more you spend energy on things that don't matter, the more you are saying that they do. If you are upset and you're complaining and you're judging yourself and you're thinking about all these things, you are deciding that it matters. But you can also decide today that it no longer does. Your life does not need to be undone. It is something that you can appreciate and move forward and accept as it is what it is and move on. You don't have to figure it all out or figure out why. You can choose to move forward, but only you can decide that. You can only be the one in charge. And once you realize that you are the only one in charge, because you're the only one who has to deal with the consequences, should I lose another job, should my friends walk out, should the people I love suddenly turn on me, I'm the one that has to deal with that. And how are you going to deal with that? Look at the things that are hard to look at. Figure out what it means to be the person that you want to be, and sit with it. At the end of the day, all we have is the life that we have, and we don't know how long we have it. And that is a big thing about Stoic philosophy, which goes under the idea of mental freedom. Ryan Holiday has amazing videos about it, and I'll link one of his videos down below that has helped me along the way, but we don't know how much time we got. And the more time we spend on these people who make us mad, who react badly towards us, the more we hand them our life. And they've already proven that they don't deserve it because of how they're behaving. So why are we giving them any more time? And there's other people who do show up for me, who give me amazing gifts and who give me their time, and I should be giving them that same respect back and being sweet and kind to those people instead of those people who don't deserve it. And that, unfortunately, seems to be something that I've had to struggle with for a long time, of like, man, I'm really nice to these people who I feel like don't deserve it, and the people who should get more of it don't get as much. And we should flip it. Start giving the people who deserve your time and the access to you back that same thing that they've given to you, which is their time, their respect, their kindness. Give people exactly what they give you, and you will start to live more aligned with who you are. And it'll free up all this energy. Because if someone's kind to you, it's very easy to smile and be kind back. The people who are angry at you, who take out their anger on you, they don't deserve your time. You can smile and you can make a conversation, but you then have to move on. And friends who aren't showing up for you, do the same thing back. Show up for them as much as they're showing up for you. And then all that extra energy you have, because you didn't think about what they said for 3 hours, you can then go and do the stuff that you do enjoy. Reading a book, going for a walk, dancing. I finally got back into ballet, and I have stopped for the past few weeks again, but I always feel better when I'm moving and starting to see my achievements come to life, to see that, oh, I can actually do this move for longer, or I can walk further, or I can be out of breath a lot later in the workout. Like, these are markers of this new life. They are proof that we can move forward and that we can be better. But at the end of the day, that's only possible if you decide who's going to get your attention and who's not. You are the only person who deserves your undivided attention, your love, your forgiveness, your kindness. So give it back to yourself. Stop handing it to people who don't care. They've shown you that they don't care. You know which people I'm talking about. So stop giving it to them. If you want to figure out what you value, there is a PDF that is also linked down below. It's all in the same place, so you can go and get it. Figure it out. Look at your 5 freedoms. There is so many thoughts that we have within a day that are holding us back, but they don't have to. It's because we're giving them power that they are. And we can choose to think a different thought. We can choose a different path. We can choose to show up differently. And people may see it, people may not, but you will know that it's true because this is your life. And the right people will continue to walk on that path with you. They will rise to where you are, and they will be on your path continuously. The third thing that we have to do with this map is to realize that we are indeed worth it. That this reality and this time, this moment is all that we have. The body that we have, the clothes that we're wearing, these are all transitory. We don't have any guarantees on this. When you were born, it was known that one day you were also going to die. And you being here, having this life, having this ability to choose, is the only proof that you need to know that you are worth living this beautiful life. Freedom is something that you are worthy of. Showing up for yourself, being free from what other people want and think about you, is your universe, God, whatever you want to call it, given right. You as a human being are entitled to be happy and to follow through on that, to live a beautiful life, to show up for you. For a long time, I dealt with survivor's guilt and feeling like I got this opportunity and I don't feel like I deserve it. And that is the worst way to see this opportunity that I have. My family survived the war in Bosnia, and they were given the chance to come to the US and to start over, to create a beautiful life, and they have done that. And they gave me this opportunity to do the same thing, and to feel guilty that I have the chance to do something with my life is a disrespect on what has been given to me and handed to me. There are so many beautiful memories to be made and jokes and fun to be created, but I have to choose that I'm worth it. And this is an ongoing decision. Every time you show up for you, every time you realize like, oh, that didn't feel right, this isn't what I actually want, you are proving to yourself that you're worth it. You're worthy of being around people who are happy and who are excited to see you and who treat you with respect. And that's what we talked about in our last video, is how are you respecting yourself? And one way to respect yourself is to believe that you deserve to be here, because you do. You are here. You can choose again. Your mistakes, whatever you did to get you here, has brought you here, and there's nothing you can do about the past anyway. Appreciate what has happened. Look on it with as much kindness as you can, and then keep moving forward. I can't undo who I was yesterday or the day before or 10 years ago, but every time I have transitioned, I have become a better version of me. And if you can look back on your life and say, wow, I wouldn't do that again, you've already won. You've already done the thing. You've learned what you needed to learn from that. So move forward. Let it go. Those people, those things, those decisions, they're all in your past. There is no amount of thinking of wanting a better past that will ever create one. And every decision has brought you to this moment. And when I look back on it, I still wouldn't change who I am right now. Showing up for others, expressing my emotions, dealing with the things that I have. I wouldn't change it because it has brought me here. And it is to a deeper level of myself. I understand myself more because I've decided that I was worth the time to invest. And when I look at all of the writings that I've created and the things that I've done, it's proved to me that I was worth it all along. And there's in a lot of my writing words that say, I wish I could go back in time and say that everything was going to be okay. But because I cannot do that, I am telling the version of me reading this right now that you're going to get through it. That whatever is happening, you are going to be okay. And whenever I do end up reading that, wherever it's sprinkled in my writing, I'm like, yes, I will be okay. Because I've been okay every other day so far. So give yourself a little more credit and a little more understanding. You deserve to be a valued part of your own life. But you have to be the first person to decide that. Show up for yourself, love yourself, and then the rest will follow. If you follow through on what you want, the right people will stay and emerge and join you on this path. So figure out what roadmap it is that you want to walk on. Who do you want to be? What are your values? What does freedom mean to you? And from there, you can start moving forward. You can say yes and you can say no with an empowered understanding of who you want to be. And then when you mess up, you can forgive yourself. When you look back and you're like, oh, I wish I didn't do that, you have done the thing, you've learned, and that is the most important. You can't change the past, so accept it. Acceptance does not mean that you agree. Acceptance means that you understand that nothing can be changed and that this is the last thing that you can do. The last thing your past can do for you is to be accepted. That this was part of who you were to get you here, and what gets you to the next version of you is what you decide to do now. So what are you going to decide? Spend some time this weekend, this week, with you. Remember that you are worthy of this, and to prove that you are worthy of the time, spend time with you and keep doing that. Keep spending the time. Practice this new version of you, and it will emerge. And it will almost be funny to you when you are 6 months into that greatest version of you and you're like, the thing that I really needed was to know that I was going to be okay. And that's the conclusion that I came to about 6 months after everything happened with losing my job and moving. 6 months later, I was in a new state with a new job, eating Indian food that I got, and I was walking across the parking lot, and I had this realization that the only thing that past me needed to get to this point was nothing. I was going to get there. I just had to believe in myself. And when I was in that moment, and I can remember it, I was like, I want to know that it's all gonna be okay. I need to know that. And then in that parking lot, in that moment, I realized I knew. And that's why I got to where I was. That's why I got to that place 6 months later, was because I took the steps. I showed up, I made the food. I think cornbread was the first thing I made after I was let go. And I was like, this is great. This is accomplishment number 1. And I built step by step, brick by brick, this foundation that Though sometimes feels like it can be shaken pretty intensely, I still know that it exists. I still know that that foundation is strong. So when you feel like you can't do it, when you feel like everything's crumbling, maybe it's crumbling because it needs to be rebuilt in a new way. And when it comes again, you will be stronger for it. Look to your writing, look to the things that you've done, look to your accomplishments, and realize that you didn't come this far to only get this far. So I hope you got something out of today's video. I'll see you very soon. But until then, I hope you have an amazing week.